let's go to the student loan, and then I have a soliloquy I want to do on the student loan. So let's go with the student loan, then comes my soliloquy that you're going to listen to.
And we have breaking news from the White House. The president has just announced he's extending the pause on federal student loan repayments. NBC's Monica Alba is back with me from the White House. Monica, we didn't let you get away very far. A lot of news coming today. Talk to me about the student loans and just extending this. It was supposed to expire January 31st.
This is a really significant development, Andrea. When the president first came into office, he directed the payments be put on pause through August. Then later in the summer, they determined they were going to extend that again as Delta was surging to the end of January, as you point out. And now the president is saying an additional 90 days will go into effect for this pause. So this punts it all the way to May 1st, 2022. And of course, this is something that the administration had been under pressure to make a decision about, given what we're seeing with the economy. And this affects more than 41 million Americans who really felt they wanted this breathing room to continue to figure out what the president and this administration may do overall when it comes to student loans. And it is something that the Department of Education is reviewing with borrowers to see if they're going to make some changes. Of course, there have been many advocates, many Democratic lawmakers even, who've asked the president to consider forgiving up to a certain amount of these loans, potentially $10,000, maybe more. Some have called, of course, for the entirety of it. So this just gives the president, the White House, and the Department of Education more time to figure that out, while people, again, take more time, given, of course, all of the pressure and the unknowns of what the Omicron variant will mean for our uneven economic recovery, Andrea.
So, as it turns out, we got another 90-day reprieve for all our young people with debt, well, actually with everybody who has student debts. Let me talk about student loan. This is important. I have an open discussion with a darn good friend of mine, a professor here at the university, a very good friend of mine. And it's amazing that when I'm thinking, sometimes I can't even remember names, right? Professor Jay, all right? Jay Tice. He told me that I needed to be careful the way I pushed student loan forgiveness. And he made a great case. And the great case he made had to do with all those folks in Appalachia that never took advantage of student loans. They just went ahead and didn't go to college. And he spoke about all these people in these different parts of the countries who pretty much would not get the benefit of getting that break, that student loan break, and that the Republicans could use that as a hammer to say, look at these elitists on the coast giving themselves all these tax breaks for these kids who went to school. And, you know, after he told me that, I had to think about it and think about it and think about it. And he's partially right. But you cannot go with partially right when something is absolutely right. We allowed all these governments, state governments, to give breaks to corporations. We allowed all these state governments to cut their support for public state schools. And then it meant those who wanted a higher education had to spend more for that education. You can say, well, yeah, they're the ones who are going to benefit from the higher salaries from that education. True. So I want them to share a responsibility of that education. But you know who benefits the most from an educated populace? The plutocracy, the owners of Exxon, the owners of all these other things. Okay? They are the ones who benefit from an educated population. So they owe it to America to pay for those schools. Because remember, when they offloaded all of that into loans, they get you twice. Corporations lend you the money. After corporations lend you the money, they profit from the interest rates that you pay to pay back that money. And then the corporations make money on your excess labor. Meaning, you go ahead and you work for Corporation X, you design a parachute or you design an airfoil, you design a wing, and they make X amount of dollars on your design. They pay you a bit and they profit the rest. So everybody is making a profit on you. I'm not saying you shouldn't partake in your education, but it should be shared. And that's what student loan forgiveness is all about. Student loan forgiveness is saying for those people, and by the way, if somebody in Appalachia wants to step out and go to college like many do, do it. If somebody in the ghetto de barrios and everywhere else want to do it, do it. But it is important for us to understand how our economic system works, so that when we come and talk about we want to have loan forgiveness, it doesn't look like when I wrote the first part of this story, and I put it on YouTube as a video on YouTube. Somebody said, "Egberto, you freeloader, pay your damn bills yourself. I don't want to pay your bills." To which I replied to him is, I am not in this fight for me. My student loan was paid off 10 years after I got out of college. Every penny of it was paid off by me. Okay? So I'm not a freeloader. Most of this stuff that I'm doing is not, oh, I'm doing it for Egberto. It's not the case. But I'm saying it's not fair. First of all, it costs me a lot less to go to school than it costs my daughter, than it costs everybody else that's going to school now, because our system wasn't as ripping people off as it is now. Eric says, politics done right. Egberto Willis is called a job. You, a person, used to pay your debt back. If you borrowed it, paying off your debt teaches you something about life. No, it doesn't teach you anything. If it taught you anything, why would the corporations take such good care of creating bankruptcy laws? Bankruptcy laws prevent corporations from paying debt, and I, as a small company, had to give up over $5,000 from a company who went bankrupt and didn't pay me. I want you guys to understand that. And corporations, they don't have a problem. There are corporations, they go bankrupt, they don't pay their bills, and they come back into existence without a problem. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.